Are you ready to take your business to the next level? Every day there are countless books and articles that are published offering the key on how to make your business a success. It's easy to feel overwhelmed trying to keep up and run your business. That's why Deb Creer created the Business Power Hour. Keep up on the latest trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. Let the Business Power Hour do the heavy work for you.
Good morning, good morning. I am Deb Creer, and I am passionate about giving professionals the tools that they need to make themselves and their businesses as successful as possible. And oh my gosh, I am so excited to talk to my guest today. And I know I always say that because I always am, but it's so funny because what my guest is going to be talking about ties in exactly to a conversation I had earlier today. How fun is that? So please join me in welcoming Pranav Dalal to our program today. Welcome, Pranav. How are you?
Doing great, Deb. Great to be here.
Perfect. Well, let me tell people just a little bit more about you, and then we'll jump into this. So Pranav Dalal is the founder and CEO of Office Beacon. Pranav's entrepreneurial journey began in mid-2001 when he traveled from Los Angeles to India, rented an office, hired 5 employees, and started Office Beacon, all within 1 week. In 2012, Pranav expanded Office Beacon's global footprint by taking over service facilities and employees from a subsidiary of VistaPrint in the Philippines. Now with over 5,500 full-time employees globally, Office Beacon operates in India, the Philippines, South Africa, and Mexico. Pranav is particularly proud of growing the organization without partners, venture capital, or any private equity, and he has remained the sole owner of the company. Oh my gosh, that is so much fun. So again, Pranav, welcome.
Thanks so much. That bio definitely described in a very simplistic way, even though there's a lot of complexity to get here, which is now our 25th year anniversary, I may add.
It's true. Yeah, I'll do the math. Yep, there we are.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you did have quite the journey. So tell us a little bit more about how it is that you got to where you are today.
Well, I think, I grew up in Toronto, Canada, first of all. And, growing up there, I had a lot of different experiences, worked for a lot of companies, including Fidelity Investments. And what I realized was all those companies back then were startups. I didn't know it back then, even Fidelity. Venturing into the Canadian market. When I joined them, I was probably one of the first 25 employees.
Wow.
Worked for a cell phone company that was a startup in Canada as well, and others. And so I always had that in me, and I didn't realize it. It's connecting the dots wasn't like so quick in terms of knowing that entrepreneurship was for me. And on top of that, my father, he worked in the Canadian government, so more of a social worker. So again, not exposed to entrepreneurship until I decided, made the leap to move to Los Angeles, California in the late 90s. And then at that time, the internet was really booming, the first wave of it. And I joined a startup as well, which was PC Mall, which was started by 2 brothers here in California. And I learned a lot. Like, I didn't have a tech background. I never was exposed to tech, but I learned a lot during that phase. And that really inspired me. And up until the point the internet the stocks crashed in 2000. There was an internet bubble, they called it.
Right.
All stocks crashed. And so I really was at a moment of time to think about what I wanted to do. And at that point, I said, okay, I'm going to go on my own, because it was really disheartening to see all my friends at internet startups losing their jobs, these companies going out of business, no more funding. And so I said, I'm going to control my own destiny, start my company. I read a white paper on outsourcing in India. And I immediately knew that's what I wanted to do. So that's, as you said in the bio, got on a plane, went to India, rented an office, and hired 5 employees. And then started cold calling, came back and just started cold calling. And I also recognized I was pretty good at that. So sales. So that was sort of the genesis of what got me into this. It was just one path leading to another. And I'm really happy about like even moving to LA because I think it's just the mindset here was so different of people and the openness to business in a different way than let's say
Warmer. It's warmer than in Canada.
and it's warmer. Yeah, I remember landing on my flight, and before we even landed, I'm looking out and like blue skies, the beach, the water. Like I'm never leaving.
Yes.
So what do I
Good
think?
ticket.
Yeah, one way it was truly, and built a business, and then grew a family, 3 kids, and so it's been a great journey so far.
I love it. I love it. Well, for those of you who are listening, you have got to look at the video because, and I'm bringing this up because so many times when we're on Zoom, right, we have the fake backgrounds. My background is real. Pranav's background is real. And when you look at it, it's like, this is a little bit different. So I love this. Tell us where your office is.
Yeah, so I am sitting in SoFi Stadium right now, and in work here often. I live probably 20 minutes away, but um, several years ago, I came to SoFi Stadium because I'm a huge sports fan, and we have 2 NFL teams here, and I thought, what a great time to be an NFL fan in LA and to watch both teams play. So I came here for season tickets, but I left with a partnership which allowed me to have access to the stadium, what we call 365 days a year. I can hold conferences, which I do very often, have team meetings, um, and use the stadium in a very, very productive way, not just only on days of games and concerts. So I'm sitting here right now. I'm in my suite, and if you allow me, I'm just going to show you. Like
Oh my gosh. Yep.
there's no SoFi there.
I
So
love it. Yep.
so we're at the 50-yard line, and so if I'm by myself, I'll sit here. But if I've got a group, I can use different parts of the stadium. So and it's for me, it's a very like energizing place to work. I mean, I just feel inspired by the energy, and it just feels good.
Mhm. Well, and I specifically wanted to mention this because I think a lot of times we get locked into where we think we should have our office. You know, a lot of us obviously start out with it in our homes, and then maybe we rent some space or we do shared space. And, thinking outside the box really can get you some very cool office space.
Well, this was yeah, that's exactly what I thought initially, and when I spoke to the executives here at SoFi Stadium, I mean, this type of opportunity does not come across very often, and not many companies have this opportunity. There's specific reasons why that opportunity was offered to me, but I took it, and I said, okay, I see this more as not only, hospitality, inviting prospects and guests and clients to games and concerts, but also the ability to hold conferences. So every week we're hosting at least 50 businesses here, and I'm speaking with them. And also, you're right. I mean, to have an office space. I remember having my rent, like you said, renting office space. And honestly, I probably never even went. Like I just didn't.
Is it boring?
It's boring, right? Like you just don't feel inspired. But coming here, it just attaches a great energy, and it's very unique. And so when I tell people our offices are here, I mean it's very memorable. Like people always.
If you told me that, I needed to meet with you in SoFi Stadium, I'd go, no.
And anyone I invite, by the way, it's like, yes, well, we'll definitely come down and meet you.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's just something about, as you said, there's so much energy there that, because there's always something going on.
Right.
And I haven't looked at the schedule, so I have no idea if there's going to be some Olympic things that take place there. Now, okay, if that happens, I'm there.
Yeah. Well,
I'm there.
FIFA World Cup starts in a few months.
Right. Yeah.
Super Bowl is here next year, and then you're right. Olympics are here the year. So the next 3 years are going to be like
You're going to have a lot of people going, we need to meet.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because this is a $5 billion infrastructure investment, stadium and the surrounding area, and I can take advantage of that and having an office. And it's so funny because I can walk around. Security knows me. I mean, it's like I can go down wherever I want.
You can go watch practice. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah, it's just, it's a great experience.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, we'll get back to talking about business. Tell us what my tongue got tangled up. Tell us what Office Beacon does, because I think it's very interesting.
So Office Beacon is, we're really the pioneers of remote staffing. Since COVID, the world understands remote work. But for 25 years, it was a concept that had to grow, and businesses needed to become aware of it and accustomed to it. So we were really the pioneers of it, and I was onto it so early on that I think we caught the first wave of significant growth. We've pioneered it in many ways, and so I feel very fortunate. And Office Beacon today, operates in remotely in 4 different countries. So our clients are mostly here in the US, but so they contract us, and then we have our offices around the world, and our employees come into offices in those countries, and they work for specific clients. And so it's somewhat like a subscription. You're paying not only for the employee, but you're paying for the infrastructure, and just ensuring that we get the job done for you every single day. It's a little different than, say, hiring a freelancer, because we have team leaders, we have managers, we have HR support, IT support.
You have basically a remote team.
Exactly. And so you can our clients feel very, very confident. They can trust us and feel very confident that their work is going to get done every single day exactly how they need it done.
Right. So, I mentioned that I was just having this discussion earlier today. It's with, several small business owners, and it's a mastermind group that I am part of every single week. And one of them said, at some point, I am going to reach the stage where I can hire a remote team to do all the stuff that I don't want to do. And then I was reading your stuff, and I went, that's it. That's what it is. And I think that's the thing is, first of all, I think we all think we have to get big in order to afford it. But your services are very affordable. And I think so many times we just don't even think about it, right? We might think, oh, I'll have AVA or I'll have employees. And this middle ground is where you are.
Yeah, great point. I think regardless of the size of company, they can, an entrepreneur, a business owner can definitely use a company like Office Beacon, whether it's a part-time staff, an executive assistant, social media coordinator, whatever the role is. We cover over 150 different types of services. And I always recommend to business owners, even if you don't think you can do it right now, you've got to figure out a way. Because I'll give you an example. As a business owner, my VA, she looks at my email. Okay, so I get so many emails every single day, and people don't realize how time consuming that is, and how much brain energy that takes to process an email and respond and think about it. So my VA, I've asked her, like, I don't want to see a single email until you've actually seen it and know what to do with it.
Okay.
And if I need it to be brought to my attention, okay, great, bring it to my attention. And what that has done is freed up literally hours of time every single day, and weekends, by the way, so that I can focus on growing my business. And a business owner should have that mindset. There's a great book called Buy Back Your Time. And I think that's actually, that example of the email is one of those examples. And I implement those, and using remote staff to help you affordably do that will definitely help you grow your business. There's no doubt about it. Like it definitely results in great things.
Right. And you mentioned weekends, evenings, weekends, holidays, right? Unless you are a brick and mortar business, we pretty much can operate 24/7. And that's what is so cool about this, because you are in 4 different continents. And so you can have a real person, and we're going to talk about AI in a bit, but you can have that real person who is there responding. If somebody says, hey, I need this, I want this, do you have this? You've got that real person who's going to respond.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have, as you mentioned in the opener, we work in India, Philippines, South Africa, Mexico, and there's specific reasons for that. If a company wants a bookkeeper, okay, we'll go to India because they're specialists in financials or software development or back office like data processing, order management. If you want true account management or real like high level marketing, hey, we're gonna go to South Africa, because I mean they're just like very compelling. It's just amazing. And South Africa is just an incredible country. If you want, you know, other types of high end creative design and that type of work, or even engineering, like we go to Philippines because they're incredibly talented in those specialist, type of roles. And then, of course, bilingual, Spanish, English. We have Mexico. So we've been very strategic about thinking about what countries we want to be in, and customers of ours, they will take advantage of resources from different countries. And the great thing is, it's under one roof. We provide it all. You have one company to deal with, one bill a month, and it's very easy to deal with us that way. So I think that definitely helps. People in terms of just getting everything they need to run their business.
Right. And I love that you mentioned having an account manager.
Yeah.
Because then they're the person coordinating all of it. There's so many people that I know that have 5, 10 VAs, but they're coordinating all of that themselves.
Yeah.
And so then it's, did I tell what? Right? And it's just, I worked for years in an ad agency. Same thing. We had a team of people, but we had the one contact. And so you always knew, I'm going to talk to this person, they're going to get it done. And just from a time-saving perspective, again, it's incredible.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, Deb, how many clients we get from, say, Fiverr, these online freelance websites that say that, oh, I've got 5 people from Fiverr or 10 people, and I can't manage it. It's just 3 times consuming, and we actually migrated. We bring out these people, we find the manager, and their life, they actually didn't focus on growth, and they add more people and more people. Like, we had a client last year who did that. They had about 20 people through Fiverr.
Wow.
Now they have almost 65 with us because they went and focused on growth rather than managing people, which is what our expertise is. And so it's just a mind shift, right? Like, instead of controlling how to manage people that way, let us do it. And you just know what the outcomes need to be and tell us what they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the cool thing is, if I say I need X,
Yeah.
if I had to go find somebody to do X, that's complicated. If I tell my account manager with you, I need X, they already have it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So we call that upselling or adding additional resources. And so what we do is we have what we call a bench. And a bench means that we have available staff in every, service or discipline ready to go. And so it's almost like a scale on demand, and the ability to add, I need now a social media person or a bookkeeper or a software, and we can easily go into our, a pool of resources, pool of people. And that's a differentiator for us, is to be able to do that. And we know the people working for us, we know they're going to be great for our client. And then our client doesn't waste time trying to recruit, trying to hire. It's very difficult actually to do that nowadays, find the right person. And it just takes a long time. And the costs are also very high for that.
Right. Yeah, because there's overhead, there's all of that goes along with it.
Yeah. So our my mindset has been more of the let's call it like the Tesla pricing model. You're not, it's like the price is there. It's a standard price. We're not like haggling and negotiating on price. It's like, here it is, and you know what to expect every time.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you budget for it. Yeah. And I think, especially because of COVID, people really did realize, I don't have to have 50 employees in one building where I can reach out and touch them. So maybe they've all gone hybrid, remote work, all of those things. But I think we also did, really discover they don't have to be here. And as long as the work gets done,
Yeah.
that really is what's the important thing.
Yeah, I think companies had a big aha moment for sure.
Mhm.
When their own employees from their own offices work
Mhm.
remotely, then they say, well, if that could happen,
Mhm.
why not use,
Right. Mhm.
talent from
Mhm.
around the world
Mhm.
um, at a cost,
Mhm.
differential
Mhm.
to get the same things done.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. So, you have employees in 4 different countries. How do you deal with the culture of trying to get them all, manage just all of that?
Yeah, so corporate culture is very important to us. We do a lot. We have an employee engagement team within our HR department. We're holding social events for our employees all the time. We have a newsletter that goes out. We call it OBZine. It's actually like a magazine that we produce for our employees. We have a town hall. So every quarter, I'm on the town hall with all employees, answering questions, giving updates, very transparent,
Mhm.
so they can really, it starts with me on how I view people and work with people and
Mhm.
treat people. And so we work really hard on our corporate culture. I
Mhm.
think overall our ratings have been terrific.
Mhm.
Our employee ratings,
Mhm.
our scores, NPS scoring, Glassdoor, all of that has been great. We monitor it all, and so we do a lot to benchmark, how we're
Mhm.
doing, and I think that's a very important aspect of corporate culture, not only for me but our management team and down. And I have to say, in December I visited all locations, so it took about 3 weeks. It flew 25,000 miles around the world and met with all teams. And I think it's just such a highlight of my year because I see, and feel the energy of people and how grateful they are, as I am too, that we get this opportunity to make a difference for businesses and see the growth that they experience and that we experience. So I think it's been a very positive thing, corporate culture in what we've built here.
Mhm. Right. And I know that is one of the difficult challenges that companies are facing when their workers are remote. It's hard to bond. It's hard, there's obviously so many reasons for remote working that are very positive, but there's also the hey, when you're standing there getting coffee, you're talking about the football game over the weekend, right? All of those things, and so that's what helps build the loyalty. That helps build the culture, and I love that you deliberately take steps to make sure that is taking place.
Yeah, and one of the things we implemented is system called EOS.
Mhm.
And so EOS is the entrepreneur operating system. And part of that framework is what we call a segue. So every meeting, we
Mhm.
start with a personal best and a professional best of the week.
Okay. Okay.
And that makes it, more relatable and creates more bonding as well. So we learn more about our
Mhm.
coworkers, we learn more about their personal side and then what's meaningful to them
Mhm.
professionally. And so,
Mhm.
and again, these are people, management or staff around the world
Mhm.
participating in all these meetings and sharing, and that really creates bonds. And we have like folks in the company that are global positions as well. So, our global HR, she's from the
Great.
Philippines.
Mhm.
She oversees India and all the other regions.
Mhm.
So she travels. So we have those opportunities for employees to not only participate regionally,
Mhm.
but globally as well. So all of that, it
Mhm.
really helps
Mhm.
with creating these
Mhm.
bonds.
Mhm. Yeah, it was interesting. I was talking to somebody, and it was probably during COVID, and he realized just how fragmented everybody was getting. And he said, one of the biggest issues they had was people wouldn't even turn their cameras on.
Yeah.
And he understood. They're probably there in their t-shirt, their jammies, who knows what, right? Um, but they implemented a thing where, they had weekly staff meetings, and the first 15 minutes were required. You absolutely had to be there unless you were dying, and then you needed a note from your doctor. But that first 15 minutes, camera on, and you had
Yeah.
to share personal things. What'd you do over the weekend? What are your kids up to? All of those things. And he said, of course, the trick was managing it to make sure that everybody had the chance to say something, because you're always going to have the people who, like me, talk a little much, and the people who don't get, maybe they don't want to say anything. And so, he said we didn't call on people, but we knew, we encouraged them to be able to give. And he said that made a huge difference with people because, again, they felt like they were connecting.
And just along those lines, Deb, I think one of the things that we really grappled with during COVID and really I made the decision on was whether we stay fully remote, right? Like a lot of companies did. I decided that we have certain employees that are definitely remote, and that's fine. But I also believe that we needed offices around the world because collaboration has been much stronger. B, that sort of sense of sort of community in the office is really important, and I think our employees have really appreciated that. And finally, I think our customers also, from many different standpoints, coordinating with employees, coordinating with teams, data security, all of that is much easier when you're working in an office. So I'm a proponent for hybrid, but I'm also like stuck with on-site work from office because it's really helped move us faster.
Right. And it's interesting. I haven't been in an office for many, many years, but there really is a lot that takes place when you're in person. Whether it's you walk into somebody's office and you point at something on their computer screen or, whatever it is. But, we did during COVID. It was like, oh, hey, I can be at the beach and I can be working, or I can be taking care of my kids, my parents, whatever it is. And it's been interesting here in the States. I mean, you're here. But, I'd be interested because you do have experience worldwide, with they've been trying to force people back into the offices here. And they've gotten a lot of pushback from that. What has been kind of your thoughts on that?
So globally, I mean, well, first of all, in the US, yes, a lot of our team works remotely throughout the US. I mean, the LA team will meet here at SoFi Stadium, but a lot of the time they're also at home. So I'm not too concerned about, say, the US team, but it's really what's happening, remotely, because I think it's such a big operation and remote is challenging, no doubt about it. When you have the structure we do, which is you have team leaders, you're supported by all these people. It's just so much easier when you're in an office. And unless a client is okay with working from home, we prefer it just because everything becomes much better for us. And it hasn't really been too much of a challenge, I think. To give you an example, so for example, South Africa, wonderful country, highly skilled employees and people there, but their unemployment rate is probably around 35%. Now imagine that, like we're at maybe 1 or 2% here. I think I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but this is something that's 10, 15 times higher. So employees definitely are. They want work. They want jobs. They want a job at a good company that treats them with respect. We do that. And we prefer that they come into an office, which we've got an amazing office in Johannesburg, one in Durban too. And so it hasn't been as much a challenge as, say, employers here and what they face here in the U.S.
We're just spoiled.
Yeah, it's tough for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and especially when you see like your neighbor, your friends, they're not going into the office. And so then you want the same thing. Well, you mentioned 25th anniversary of your company, and that is such a wonderful thing. And you are still the only owner. You haven't taken in all of this, but there have been some pretty big economic ups and downs. How have you survived that?
Yeah, I can kind of share some of those with you. When I started the company, 3 days later, 9/11.
Oh, you started in September. Yikes.
Yeah, September 8th, right. And so that was tough, but I think at the same time, obviously really tough for the US and for the world. But my mindset, my personal mindset was, okay, I don't have a safety net. I
Right.
quit my job at the startup companies. I had a mortgage payment, 2 car payments. I'm like, there's no safety net. So actually, in a way, that strengthened my resolve to make it successful. And what I realized that during times of adversity like that, companies still need support. They still need support more than ever.
Yeah, and you're right, probably more than ever.
Yeah, even if, say, there's an economic downturn, they still have fixed costs. They still have costs. They need to actually sharpen the pencil and sharpen the costs there. So that's actually a good thing for a company like mine. We come into the picture and help them, get over those waves, the economic waves. So in a bad time like that, or the real estate crisis of the 2008, roughly, the financial crisis, same thing. During COVID, all the same stuff. And so I recognize that during bad times, we can excel and thrive as a company. And then during good times, it's obvious we're going to, as companies need more scale or more capacity, that's where we come in too. So it's I'm not going to say nothing's bulletproof, but I think we've got a great business that can help companies in good times or bad.
Right. You mentioned the word scale, right? Which is growing. Or, I guess in some it is reducing, right? But because it's just you, obviously you've done very well at that. So what are some tips that you have?
So my mindset is, as an entrepreneur is, I think about scalability in terms of systems. So almost like an assembly line, So we want to make sure we have the systems in place on the front end. So generating leads, where we spend a lot to figure out how to do that in unusual ways. Then we scale our sales process so we can make that efficient, so that every month we know we're going to get a minimum number of sales. That's the first thing I think business owners need to look at. I'm not going to say most, but a lot of business owners think about sales as organic growth, word of mouth, just traditional things that you do. And I don't look at it that way. I'm looking at ways to really exponentially grow sales. And we've done that. I mean, SoFi Stadium is just one avenue of that, where I took the approach coming out of COVID, where most people were doing Zoom calls and Microsoft meeting Teams calls. I said, we're going to go in person. We're going to meet people in person and give that personal touch and that one-on-one FaceTime. And we did that in a very large scale. We host events here at SoFi every week. We do that across the country. And it's been very successful for us because people were really craving that. They wanted to,
we lost that human touch.
Yeah. And that's something that was a differentiator for us. That's just one thing we do. So I really look at what I call hooks and ways to really interest people in what we're doing and set us apart from the competition. So I think for entrepreneurs thinking about what I did for 25 years, that's one of the primary things. What would be a great hook to grab someone's attention within 10 seconds? And if you can figure that out, you've really got something. I think most entrepreneurs don't realize that's one thing you should be focusing on. The other is really, if you're an entrepreneur, set yourself up with operational execution people that can really execute at a high level. For me, it's been an ongoing thing because we're always growing. So we're always trying to figure out who's the right person in the right area. I'm not the best person for operations, and yet I think entrepreneurs try to put every hat on.
Oh, I know. I have to do it all because it's my business.
Correct. And I think that's where, it's going to hurt you. And so getting the right people in the right seat, getting them doing the right things, even for me, it's an ongoing challenge to keep doing that because we're changing constantly. But I think that's another sort of small tip I give to entrepreneurs is really focus on who can help you in what area.
Right. Yeah, we talk about that a lot on the podcast because, you know, we do talk with small business owners who think I have to do it all. And I remind them, you know, unless you are a doctor, you're not going to try and treat yourself. You're going to hire somebody to do it. I am not going to change the oil in my car. Nope, I'm going to hire somebody to do that. And so that's where, you know, you really have to think about that. And then the owner focuses on doing what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Being a visionary, coming up with new things a company can do. Things that I talk about actually to a lot of business owners in my seminars are, what is your competitive advantage? Because most business owners don't realize that they don't actually have a competitive advantage. The responses I typically get are, we're the best at customer service, or we're the best at quality. Like, you know, that's actually a standard that you have to have, like the best in customer service. You have to do that. You know, that's a sort of like the threshold any customer would. So you've got to think through and maybe ask, you know, I would recommend any entrepreneur to go to their top, say 5 customers and say, why are you buying from me?
Right. Why did you not go to somebody else?
Yeah. And they'll give you the answer, actually. They'll tell you why. And I remember early on, I asked my customers 25 years ago why they chose, you know, Office to begin. And they told me very clearly, it's because we have a managed service. We're not just giving them people or bodies to fill a seat and do a job. We're actually managing it. We're managing the outcomes. We're managing the people. We're taking away that HR responsibility, which is a big deal for our clients. And when I understood that, then I knew that was our first hook. Like, that was the first thing that we would lead with. And it's really served us well all these years.
Right. Well, and it is about that relationship. You know, and it's funny, we've been, you know, in a lot of my groups and things, we've been talking about the fact that we've lost that. And we were kind of mentioning that before, you know, you get whoever you get. You know, is it now, of course, and we're going to talk about this a little bit, is it even a real person? You know, and all of those things, and to know, hey, you know, I know that Bob is my person. I'm going to talk to Bob every time. And if Bob's not available, then I get Sue. But that's as far as it goes, right? It's not whoever happens to answer the phone.
Right. Yeah. I think that's been, like I said, a game changer for us. I've got employees that have worked with at Office Beacon, some of them for 24 years. I think, yeah, like we've had a lot of great tenure at this company. We celebrate that every month and every year. I have countless employees who've been with us for over 10 years. And, you know, I'm very proud of the fact that, you know, once an employee joins us and they feel like this is where they're going to actually end their career. I've had employees say that to me, coworkers, and it's a great feeling to know that, you know, you're on this journey with people who really care about the company.
Right. Well, let's talk about the elephant in the room, AI. You know, and now I love it. I just barely know what to do. I mean, you know, it's got so many more things it could do that it just makes my head hurt. So then I stop. But, you know, like I was talking with somebody the other day and they have a large company and they said, we're not even going to hire entry-level people anymore. It's just going to be AI. Of course, the trick is you still got to have somebody doing, you know, AI just doesn't poof, make it work. You still have to have people that are doing it. But you've incorporated AI. So talk to us a little bit more about that.
Well, let me start by saying this, Deb, that AI is definitely the industrial revolution of our time right now. I remember, you know, 25 years ago, the internet was the first wave of internet, which was a huge wave. I mean, it was you couldn't go wrong, right? And this is like that, probably times 100. And so my mindset last year was really dive deep into learning about AI personally, and then understanding, you know, the potential of it so that we could apply it as a company to our strategy. And that's what I did for most of last year. Learned the development practices of it, like did coding myself, developed applications. And now we've built out a team, which continues to progress in terms of like combining what we call AI plus human hybrid talent. So we're combining both AI with our remote staff. And what that's going to do is make us highly competitive, highly efficient, developing, not just using, say, ChatGPT to help you write an email, but actually create apps that are very much needed in every vertical we're in. And so that will help us do things for the clients that they just can't do themselves, or nor they want to do it or spend the time developing it. And so that's been a huge, exciting, thing for me that I can get involved with. And I'm so really excited for the next 10 years because we're already coming out with great software, great apps. I'm actually converting all of our company's internal apps into AI apps.
Okay.
It's been a great shift in our even though it's still at the infancy of it, it's been a great shift in the company's direction. So our customers are excited about it, and I think my superpower is really coming up with those competitive ideas that'll help us and our companies really, our customers really thrive.
Yeah, and I remind people who are going, ew, ew, it's a tool. Now if it calls me Hal, I'm going to get a little concerned. But yeah, it is just a tool, and it is, it's only as good as what's being put into it, right? And all of those things. And I think, the people, and we at least at this point, we can't rely on it 100%. It's still going to make errors. It's still going to do things, because it doesn't know good and bad. It's just got all this data. So it crunches it and says, here. One of the things that I do is I work with people who've been diagnosed with cancer. And I had somebody, and luckily we were not on Zoom because she didn't see my eek face. She said, she was so overwhelmed that she put it into ChatGPT and said, tell me what my treatment should be. And I eeked, but I told her, I said, can I give you some suggestions? Have it give you the questions to ask your doctor. Have it, if he or she says you should do this, then analyze, okay, what are the side effects from all of that? What are alternatives? I said, but don't let it just make your decision. It still has to have a human who is doing that. And, whether it's, oh my gosh, this person needs a refund, we got to make that decision. I mean, we still need the people who are in there doing these things.
1000%. I agree wholeheartedly. In fact, for Office Beacon, we're not actually reducing staff. We're actually hiring a lot.
Right.
Like we have a lot
Yeah,
of jobs.
because you can do more.
Correct. And so customers come to us because of that. And so I see it as a great opportunity for companies. I'm excited because our decision making, we get ideas quickly because of ChatGPT or other AI tools. But as you said, like it has to be filtered. You can't just go blindly because it's trained on what humans are thinking, and there's errors in that training too. So even our clients who are using AI hire us to just check things too, because it's not perfect, and you don't want those types of mistakes. But it's definitely making us very, very efficient, very competitive, and I'm all in on it. By the way, like I really, it's very interesting because for many years we've been a service-based company, and now we're trying to change our DNA to include being a product-based company, which is a very different.
Right.
Yeah, very
different.
yeah, like so I'm learning about that too myself, and but it's moving very fast. So we're having to learn very, very fast, and luckily we started this a while ago, which enabled us to implement things sooner rather than later.
Right. Yeah, I love the people who say it's new. No, it's not. We've had AI for quite a long time. I tell people, do you ever go to Amazon and have it suggest products for you?
Right.
Or
Like
even
Spotify with music or
your GPS, all of that's AI, folks. I hate to break it to you. You've been using it no matter what. But now I do admit, I don't know if it's made me lazy, because that's the negative part, right? But I think it has definitely made me more efficient. Like, so I will tell it, hey, write such and such. Poof, there it goes. I go in, I tweak it a little bit. Maybe it's a blog post, whatever. I put, and of course it does learn, so it knows these are words I like. It always says, do you want your usual sparkle? And things like that. But, I could probably write the same thing, but it's going to take me 3, 4, 5 times as long. So by telling it, hey, I want you to do this, and getting it, and then, making my minor tweaks, then I've got time to do something else. Maybe that's nap, maybe that's work on a project, whatever it is. So to me, it makes things just more efficient.
Yeah, or you could just do more work. Like me, I'm like, once I start like an AI project, I'm literally consumed on it day and night. I feel like I'm back in the university days, just cramming for a exam or something. I mean, that's what it's been like, but it's truly exciting. And I think you learn the tendencies of AI. You can say, hey, I'm looking for this, but it will actually kind of feed something back to you based on what you think you're gonna like. And then you figure, well, no, I really want this. And, oh yeah, you're right. I'll do it like this. So you really have to become a master of learning how to prompt and how to guide the AI in a way that it gives you a result that's 360. It's not just skewed in one way, because that can certainly happen.
Right. Well, and the nice thing is there's a variety of products, right? You might ask Chat GPT one thing and Perplexity something totally different, and the other program something even, to me, that's like you have 5 employees. You ask them, different things, right? And as of right now, there's nothing that is 100%. Will there be? Maybe. Who knows? But and now Google's really jumping in big, so that's going to be interesting.
But yeah, they can come back strong. Like that's how.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny because I just was having this discussion today, and they said, well, once Google gets in, they'll control it. And I said, you remember that little thing called Google Plus?
Right.
And they went, huh? And I said they were going to be the competitor to Facebook, and it didn't happen for whatever reason. So you never know. I mean, the alphabet's probably going to do pretty good, but who knows? But yeah, it's interesting, but I love that you just incorporate it just like you would employees.
Yeah. It's no one really knows where everything's headed, but I think my mindset is just lead the way, provide direction, and it'll manifest itself. Like I think it's already doing that for us. Like we're already seeing the benefits of it, and it's already a disruptor in its own right. So and I like that, and I think you just have to harness it as entrepreneurs and really just provide direction and a roadmap and a vision of what this can be, and that's what my role is to do that and provide the confidence that, hey, this is definitely working for us.
And it's not going away. I love the people who say we're going to put restrictions. We're going to no, and I mean, we've certainly seen companies through the years that thought they were irreplaceable. Blockbuster, Kodak. I mean, all of those big guys, and they discovered really quickly, oops, or the people that Amazon's not going to be big, right?
Right.
Amazon is the 100-pound gorilla. It's probably 1,000-pound gorilla, whatever the biggest would be. It's at least here in the United States. And yeah, so, we need to embrace it and, go with it.
Yeah, I often talk about Blue Ocean Strategy, which is a fantastic book. And this is truly it. Like companies who really ignore, the future like this and don't look at what I call the horizons of, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, etc. They could really be caught off guard. Like you said, those examples like Blockbuster, Kodak, etc. I remember the story of Netflix, the founder going to Blockbuster to buy them for $50 million. And they rejected it. And now
nobody's going to want to download videos.
Yeah. And look at what happened, right? And so for $50 million, they could have really, changed their whole trajectory.
Right.
And so I really firmly believe that. That's why, looking at the threats, looking at the opportunities, entrepreneurs who hopefully I don't think there hopefully are too many, but ignore the power and don't really jump on AI. I think is a real disservice to their own company,
Right.
you know, do that. And I think entrepreneurs should themselves be very invested in spending time to learn it, because it's not something you can just ask an employee to do. You really have to understand
Right. Yeah,
how
because
that.
like we said, you need to know that this has limitations and this does that and all of those things.
Correct. Exactly. So
Love it.
but we do that every day. I mean, I'm literally on a call at 7 a.m. for a couple of hours, and then at 9:30 p.m. with my AI team. Like, we're not stop around the clock working on this.
Wow. I love it. I love it. And I'm old enough to remember when they said, oh, computers aren't gonna, nah, right? And because I mean, I never touched a computer till I was in college.
Yeah.
And and people really did say, well, that's stupid. Why are we gonna do that? Well, I'm sure the same people said the same thing with the assembly lines and all of those things.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard, you see the news about AI crashing and all this. It definitely is not going to. I mean, it's a technology that will touch every single person and business. Like, I don't think there's been anything like that ever that has been able to do that.
Right, right. So what's next for you? What do you see kind of coming down, both personally and professionally? Where do you see Office Beacon going? And what's next for you? You ever going to retire and just watch football, or who knows?
I'll start with the last question,
Mhm.
first, which is, I love what I'm doing. I think AI has renewed my energy for growth and really, pushing us in a really different way. So I'm very excited about that. So I don't see myself retiring anytime soon. I have 3 children, been a single parent for a long time, and 2 of my kids, while they're still in university, they work in the company too. My son
Okay.
is part of our sales team. My middle daughter, she's part of our social media and events team. My youngest is still in high school, grade 11. So I fully expect her to also join the company. So it's been a sort of a dream of mine, and really vision to have this family business that can grow for generations. So that's the dream that is actually coming into reality. The future for me, what's next for Office Beacon is really keep growing the way we are, but also incorporating AI. We've got some great tools coming out very shortly. We're releasing in private beta an incredible new tool called Prospectly, which is a standalone sort of like lead generation tool that's all based on social media and warm introduction. So we're actually releasing that in private beta in 2 weeks. And we expect that to grow pretty significantly. And we're going to release that to the public probably in the next several months. But that's been exciting, that I can take my visions of software, solving problems, and not worry about the development as much, but really about how to execute. And that's the game changer now. You don't have to worry about the actual coding part. It becomes easier. It's really about coming up with the ideas. I think I'm pretty good at that. So I'm unleashing my brain to enable a lot of that in the next few years.
I love that. And we've always heard the sky's the limit. Who knows? I saw something on Facebook. Now, granted, this was very tongue in cheek, but they were saying, this person is developing a hotel on the moon. Well, might
Never know.
be. I'm not sure I'd want to. Now, if you tell me I could go to Mars, yep, sign me up. I'm there. Moon. Oh, but yeah, I mean, that's the cool thing is especially with the technology. I mean, there really are no limits.
There aren't any, and it's almost, I think you can get trapped as an entrepreneur trying to do too much, and
Or overwhelmed. I'm like,
yeah, you're totally overwhelmed. I'm telling you, when I started it, I'm like, wow, you really have to focus on, what tools to use, really identify which platforms to use, which LLMs, all of that, and then just focus on your problem, like focus on what you're trying to solve. And that's where I think I then narrowed exactly what I thought of, and it's been great so far. We're just, as I said, in the infancy of it, but I believe it's gonna bode really well. And having the experience of going through that first internet wave, by the way, Deb, I think it's going to help me because I saw sort of what companies went through at that time. I remember all of the experiences, and it really isn't any different. It's a new technology, whether it's the internet or AI, figuring out what to do. And that was the biggest thing. Like, what was the business model, all of that. And so I feel really good about our future.
I love it. Well, oh my gosh, we've only got about 5 minutes left. And we will have a link to Office Beacon and to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes. But tell us, for people who are going, okay, I'm overwhelmed, I need help. Tell us more about what Office Beacon does.
Sure. Thanks, Deb. So little self-promotion. I mean, we help companies fill in the gaps of human talent with AI too. So no matter in the org chart, if you need, support, whether it's in accounting, marketing, customer service, finance, software, etc., our model is we can touch any department in any company to help you fill in those gaps, help you scale, handle the workload, all of that. Contact us, and it's easy. You can come to our website. There's a easy, start a trial or talk to our sales team. They'll be able to guide you in terms of what we do. They'll give you a great overview. Sometimes I have large clients reach out wanting to request talking to me because of my background and experience with growth, and I'm happy to do that. So the first thing is just take that step, reach out, come to our officebeacon.com website, fill out the form, and you'll be scheduled to talk to one of our great salespeople and business development people. And that's the first step of the journey to really learn how you can do this. And think about it not as just filling a seat, but your journey of growth. And that's what we want to help you with. That's our differentiator, is helping you grow versus just trying to sell you a position here.
I love it. And your website is very detailed. And so, if somebody says, I need this, I need this, I need that, it's, you can see, okay, but I'm going to encourage folks, if you think you need something and it's not listed, still ask, because you don't know, right?
Absolutely. Thanks for saying that, by the way. Yeah, because we can't possibly list everything. Yeah, we're trying to actually narrow it down just to keep the website from not being overwhelming. But we work in every industry. There's some industries we definitely have a lot of presence in, but there's not an industry we haven't touched. There's not a role we haven't touched. And we have a great HR team, recruiting team. If we don't have that person in-house, we can fill that role very, very quickly. And then you get all the benefits of managing, us being a consulting group, free practically, to help you figure out ways to scale. And there's just so many benefits to it.
I love it. Well, we are at the top of the hour, and this really has been so much fun. As I mentioned, we will have the links in the show notes. This has been a delightful conversation, and we have to do it again because it'll be interesting to see in even just a year.
Yeah.
What is new, right? Because it's that's kind of the buckle up time. But yeah. So, but until then, do you have any final thoughts that you want to leave everyone with?
Keep learning. If you're feeling stress as an entrepreneur or as an employee, actually, employees apply to us. We have so many job openings around the world, so please apply. And then entrepreneurs, if you're feeling stressed about what to do, just keep learning and reading, and then reach out to us, and we'll help you for sure.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'm Deb Creer. I've been having so much fun talking with Pranav Dalal, the founder and CEO of Office Beacon. And until next time, everyone have a great day.
Tune in for our next program for even more trends, best practices, and techniques for how to make your business a success. The Business Power Hour, hosted by Deb Creer, is proud to be part of the C-Suite Network.